CCO for me means studying communication events and episodes and how they relate to each other.
CCO for me is a way to research and understand how the social practice of communication informs theory, and then how the theoretical development from that can be fed back into practice to inform people's activities and how they form their organizations.
CCO for me is looking at how talk mediates structure and process.
CCO means to me a very innovative and very interesting case or a theory to look upon organizations. And as for me, as a business administration major or PhD, I'm very interested in this very interdisciplinary approach.
I'm a bit ambivalent about CCO, I have to say. On a very intuitive level, I feel very drawn to it. And I like it, but on an intellectual level, I'm struggling with this idea of focusing on eventfulness or the event or the ephemeral or something happening, and I'm really interested in that. But also on how you can build on the ephemeral and how you can get to a final stage by repeating the same events, or do we repeat the same events, or are we ever repeating the same events? And in that case, can we have models? Can we have explanations for what's going on? So this is my struggle, and that's what I'm hoping to explore.
For me, it means throwing away the shackles of psychology and economics and even the physical sciences and creating a completely new philosophy of communication in the social world.
I started really reflecting on these three words, and I especially got stuck on the Constitution word, and that brought me up to realize that what we say when we talk about CCO, we often overlook this idea of constitution, and I decided that this would be one of my keywords for my dissertation, and finally I ended up writing my whole dissertation, or most of it, on this notion of constitution as the creation of the moment, or the element that creates the organization, and from there on all the rest is in the dissertation.
CCO to me has probably meant more about the people that are behind it. It's always meant community to me. It's been a touchstone for me to come back to, not having done my dissertation, or not finished yet, but not having studied for my PhD within this tradition. It's always been something that I come back to because I find it interesting, I find it is provocative, and I find it's, well, we're trying to figure out what the relevance is, the bigger so what question, but for me it's always meant community.
Well, I have, of course, a canned answer that it refers to the four flows of constitutive communication and to the phenomenon of creating, maintaining the powerful things that we talk of as organizations and corporations and governments today. But it also has a personal meaning to me. I've really enjoyed and been honored by the ability to participate in and be accommodated to by the really strong current of researchers in CCO with whom I have some differences. And that's been great.
CCO are just a specific lens to apprehend a specific reality. And reality might be various. But yeah, to me it's a specific lens, and I could choose other lenses, but this lens, according to my object, this lens is very appropriate.
CCO means a lot of people, many people who collaborate with each other, non-dogmatic people also. It's full of collaboration, it's full of life. I hope it's going to continue that way. I'm very afraid of having something that closes itself. So I'm hoping for openness for the next years, and if it dies one day, so it's okay too.
Maybe it's hard to pinpoint, but it's very much about all these schools, the Montreal school, structuration theory, and the Luhmann followers all have a notion of that there's kind of a speaking on behalf of the organization. So there are communicative events that evoke, let the organization speak, so to speak. And also, you might think, okay, Luhmann is all about decision communication, but it's about making decision on behalf of the organizational entity, which creates the organizational entity. And these kind of attribution processes, they, in a self-referential way, they seem to be at the heart of CCO, for me at least.
CCO is for me is it's like a philosophy of it's a way of perceiving the world. Like it's constructed in relations. It's something we can influence. We have it in somehow to a certain amount in our own hands to change and enhance the reality we all live in, we all share, and so that's what I really like about it. That what really catches me, and that's it.
Well, what it means for me is a sort of a fresh perspective, so a different take on how you might study organizations, and I'm partly in a business school, so I find that take quite refreshing because it's different from sort of more traditional economic, sociological or psychological approaches. So I suppose for CCO people, that's also partly the interest to develop a new way of looking that is different from just assuming that an organization exists, although it obviously exists often in a legal or also in a material sense in terms of the people that are a member of that organization. So it's a fresh perspective, lots of potential. It obviously implies quite a strong commitment to particular types of research methods that is not always that easy compared to a firm level analysis or running an experiment if you're a psychologist. So you have to take it seriously. It comes with very, in that sense, practical challenges, but it's one that is very promising.
For me, CCO, I think it's a perspective. So it's a way we approach a phenomena, in this case, organization, but at the same time, it's also the object that we're studying. So I would say it's both this conceptual framework or analytical framework that we're building on that comes from this view of communication, but it is also the event we're studying, the episode we're studying. So at the same time, we're studying talk, we're studying discourse, we're studying text. So it's both the explanation and the explanandum.